So one of the most common questions I get asked revolves around stretching and how I remain injury-free when doing such a high volume on the bike. Last year, for example, as part of my 1,000,000 meters of elevation project, I spent 150 hours stretching just to ensure that I stayed injury-free. All you need is a stretching mat. There's no weights required, there's no special equipment required. You need a mat and 10 minutes of your time. I do this regime every night before I go to bed. I'm going to prepare a separate video which outlines my pre-ride routine. Today the focus is on that wholesome stretching routine, the stretching routine that really looks after the whole body and allows me to continue riding these big kilometers on the bike. I hope that you guys can apply this to your own lives, be that as a racing cyclist, a beginner cyclist, or a professional. These relate to all of you guys, and I think you're going to find a lot of value in what I'm about to show you. So let's kick off. So first things first, I'm going to jump into a very basic pose. Now, I'm not a yogi, so my terminology is probably all over the place. I'm a cyclist that stretches to look after their body health. Basically, as cyclists, we spend a whole lot of our times hunched over on the bike. And so one of my focuses here as I start the stretching is to just open up my back and get a little bit of movement through my spine. So I also feel a stretch through my glutes doing this, but the primary focus for me here is just opening up my back. So generally I'll do 10, breathe in, breathe out. 10 of these movements. And I find this is just a really nice way to get the body in the mood of stretching. Stretching's never been something that I've loved doing, but the more that I do it, the more I find that I progress. And just knowing that this is going to keep me injury-free is a pretty big motivator. All right, so that's the first one done. From there, I move into, I don't know what you want to call this, a dog-style position. And basically, again, here, I'm just trying to open up my back and get some movement through my hips. Again, I do 10 of these. For each of these stretches, I'll basically try and do 10 repetitions. So I breathe out and I breathe in. Again, I'm trying to open up my back, open up my shoulders, get that movement through the hips. So once I've done 10 of these, I'm going to stay in this position, sort of neutral position, and I'm going to basically bend down here and just try and get some cracks through my back. Sometimes I'll get some cracks, some clicks. Today, my back actually feels pretty good. All right, so from here, I'm gonna pop one leg up. I'm gonna start working through my hips. So you can see this position here, it's a pretty basic position. I'm gonna try and tuck my pelvis in and just drive through the back with the glutes. And I'm just trying to open up this front chain, the TFL. I normally just do 10 breaths in this position and really just trying to open up here, because again, as cyclists, we spend so much time bent over, hunched over, that it's key to try and open this up. So remember when I first started this actually really used to hurt, and I didn't used to have a lot of range of motion through here. But over the years, it's just sort of loosened up, and yeah, I know when I'm getting tight because it hurts again, but today it feels quite good. All right, so there's 10 there. I'm gonna reach up now, and again, stretching that front chain. I'm gonna bend over slightly. So what I'm doing here is I'm stretching the psoas, which is a little muscle that basically runs from the pelvis and attaches into the spine. To bend over here, and I'm gonna do 10 deep breaths in and out. And this one is a stretch that can really, really hurt if you're tight through the psoas. It doesn't look like I'm stretching much here, but I can feel it. All right, there's 10 breaths there. So now I'm going to switch sides, and I'm basically going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So breathing, 10 breaths in, 10 breaths out, working on this front chain here. Just trying to get that flexibility through the hips. I think the hips are a really important thing to be focused on, just because our legs attach to the hips, the spine attaches to the hips, everything's basically based around the hips, and if the hips are tight and they're not moving properly, then it can have effects down the chain on the knees, the ankles, but also up the chain, the shoulders and the back. So it's a good basis point to focus the stretching around. All right, so we're going to lift the arms up here, bend over slightly. Again, it's a really good stretch through the front. 10 breaths. All right, so there's my hips done, and that's all I do for hips. From here, I'm going to move into quads. So moving down the line a little bit, pretty basic stretch here. This is probably one you guys have seen before, but here's the tip. When I hold my foot up like this, a lot of people they sort of bend forward like this. And what you're doing there is you're actually reducing the ability to stretch that muscle. So what you want to do, hold the leg, and then I drive forward. So I'm driving forward a bit here with the hip, and I'm just trying to engage my core. And what that does is it just allows you to really target the quad. So again, 10 breaths. Last year I found, especially with all the climbing, that the quads were really loaded up, and so this stretch was one that if I didn't do, or if I missed, or if I skimped on, I found the following day I was really tight, and I just had to be on top of this all year. All right, I'm going to switch it over. So cycling is obviously you're using one leg at a time, and so focusing on that symmetry between the legs is really important. I do, as you'll see, the left then the right, and what I'm trying to focus on is, do both legs feel the same? Does one leg feel tighter than the other? If so, then I spend a little bit more time on that leg, just to make sure that, you know, at the end of the routine, the body is symmetrical, it's balanced, and when I hop on the bike tomorrow, the following day, the body feels, you know, it's in line. All right, there's 10 there. The next one, again, a stretch you've seen before, but again, there's something to focus on here. A lot of us often bend down like this to try and touch our toes, which is fine, but if you want to get a real stretch, I want you to concentrate on basically bending forward through the hips, not through the back. We can all bend the back and touch the toes, that's not a problem. But by bending through the hips, you'll find you get a real good stretch through the hamstring. Doesn't look as impressive because I'm miles away from my toes, but I don't care how it looks, I just want those hamstrings to be nice and limber. Again, I'm also trying to concentrate that I'm not twisting my hips as I do this. I want the hips to be square. I want the leg to be straight out in front. The whole time, you know, think about yourself on the bike. You want to be square, straight, forward. You don't want to be twisted, you don't want to be skewed. So when you're doing your stretching, think about that as well. So again, 10 breaths in, 10 breaths out. It's a little hard to do while I'm talking, but you get the picture. So again, square up those hips, bend forward from the hips. I'm miles from the toes, but I don't mind. Toes are touchable if you bend your back, but the real stretch happens when you keep those hips straight. So 10 breaths in, 10 breaths out, and we're almost done. This is close to the end of the little regime. You can see it's pretty straightforward. There's nothing complicated here. I think the key is in doing it every single day. Little bit by little bit, you'll get more and more flexible. You'll feel better and better each day when you hop on the stretching mat. And you know, ultimately you'll perform better on the bike. All right, so there's the hamstrings done. The final thing that I do, and this is, you know, a basic stretch. You can do it while you're cooking dinner. You can do it while you're brushing your teeth. It's just a simple calf stretch. You've seen this one before, basically just bending from the knee there and you'll feel this, straight up the back. But I might do this one for 10 seconds, I might do it for 20 seconds. This is one that I generally do while I'm getting some dinner ready, or while I'm, brushing the teeth or doing something else. A man trying to multitask, look at that. So I can actually feel today this one's tighter than the left one, and that might be because yesterday I was at the gym and one muscle is a little bit less conditioned than the other, and I'm feeling it more today, but I'm going to spend a little bit longer on this leg just to make sure that at the end of the session they're both feeling equal. All right, so the last thing that I do is, it's a bit of a relaxation pose, a bit of a, say thank you to the body. I lay arms stretched out, legs in front. I try and suck my stomach to the floor and just 10 big breaths in and out. Four more. All right, that's it. So there you have it. That is my typical stretching regime. It's pretty simple, it's pretty straightforward. These are all stretches that you guys have probably seen before. The focus here is in doing it daily, making sure you get on the mat daily, run through this regime daily, and I will guarantee you that on the bike, you feel better, you will perform better, and you'll stay injury-free. So next time we do a video on the stretching, I thought what I'll do is we'll focus on those pre-ride activations, those pre-ride stretches that help to engage the glutes, help to engage that lower chain before we get on the bike. Today is all about, bringing the body, calming it down before bed in the afternoon once you've got some downtime. And yeah, I hope that's been insightful. I hope you can apply that to your own life. And I look forward to seeing you on the bike soon.